Breaking news. Max Crosby is staying in Las Vegas for the long run. His agent just confirmed that the Raiders have signed their star defensive end to a 3-year, $166.5 million contract extension. That includes $91.5 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. $106.5 million total? Damn! Max, can I borrow some money? Jokes aside, Crosby is now set to make $35.5 million per year, more than stars like Justin Jefferson, Nick Bosa, and CeeDee Lamb. We've heard Tom Brady, Josh McDaniels, and even Pete Carroll talk about how important it is to keep Crosby in Vegas. Now, the Raiders have made it happen, and they got the deal done just in time, right before free agency. With all the trade rumors flying around, locking down their franchise cornerstone was a must. Crosby gives 110% on and off the field, and he's earned every penny of this deal. Remember, he wasn't always a superstar. Max Crosby entered the league as a fourth-round pick out of Eastern Michigan. Now, he's the face of the Raiders. What a journey. Max Crosby wasn't a big name when he entered the NFL. Scouts didn't pay much attention to him, and there weren't many expectations on his shoulders. But that didn't stop him. He proved everyone wrong, beat the odds, and became the face of the Raiders, especially after Khalil Mack was traded. This is now the third time in 4 years that the Raiders have adjusted Crosby's contract, but this time they've locked him in for the long haul. Crosby has always said he wanted to be a Raider for life, and now that dream is closer to reality. The deal keeps him in Vegas for at least the next 5 years, though we'll probably be talking about another extension by then. Keeping Max Crosby is a huge move for the team and for Raider Nation. Just imagine how fans would have felt if he got traded away, just like Mac a few years ago. Crosby has done everything for this franchise since putting on the silver and black. 4-time Pro Bowler, 59.5 sacks in 6 seasons, 7.5 sacks last season, despite missing 5 games. 20 quarterback hits, 45 tackles, and 5 pass deflections in 2023. Since 2019, he ranks first in quarterback pressures, 430, first in defensive stops, 236, and first in total tackles, 222. He's been an absolute force on the field, and the Raiders made the right call by keeping him. We've all heard the rumors. Max wants out. He wants to go here. He wants to go there. But at the end of the day, he's still a Raider. And more than anything, he just wants to win. Losing season after season is frustrating for fans. But imagine putting in all that hard work every single day just to lose. Crosby knows that pain, and he made it clear at his press conference. The titles and all that stuff are amazing, but I truly just want to win. I don't care about all the extra things that come with it. Just being part of the silver and black means everything to me. And that's why he's the heart and soul of this team. Max Crosby has said it a million times. He was meant to be a Raider. I love being here. I love the people. And when you look at the legends who built this franchise, Ted Hendricks, Marcus Allen, Charles Woodson, they all had one thing in common: winning. Crosby doesn't just want to be the face of the franchise, he wants to be the face of winning. Titles and labels are cool, but if we're not winning, then what are you really the face of? Winning is all that matters to me. And that's exactly why this contract extension is such a big deal. The Raiders did the right thing by locking Crosby in, but now they need to build around him. Pete Carroll has already made it clear. He doesn't want to wait years to compete. He wants to win now. That means making the right moves in free agency, bringing in top talent, and re-signing key players. Speaking of re-signing players, one name that needs to be at the top of the list: Trayvon Moehrig. I've said it before, Trayvon is a key piece in the secondary. He's the kind of player the Raiders can't afford to lose. Now, Raider Nation, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Crosby's extension? And which players do you think the Raiders need to bring back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Reports are coming in from Tom Pelissero that Trayvon Moehrig is in line for a big payday, with multiple teams showing serious interest. Some projections even suggest he could command around $12 million per year. Now, $12 million is a lot, especially for a safety. That's top-tier money. Moehrig may not have reached that level yet, but I truly believe his best years are still ahead of him. The Raiders don't always keep their homegrown talent, and that's a problem. If we have a player who's developed into one of the better safeties in the league, Why let him walk? We already made a huge mistake by not bringing back Josh Jacobs, and we can't afford to do that again. Right now, Mohrig's market value is around $10 million per year. I'd be comfortable with that. $12 million? That's pushing it. But considering how much cap space the Raiders have, there's no excuse not to keep him. If it were up to me, Moehrig would be at the top of my list for players to re sign. But what do you think, Raider Nation? Should the team pay up to keep him? Or is $12 million too much? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, speaking of free agency, the Raiders just made a move. According to Adam Schefter, the Raiders have signed former Bengals guard Alex Kappa to a 2-year, $1 million deal. I won't lie, this move is interesting. 2 years, $1 million is a bargain for a player with his experience. Does this mean he'll be a starter? Not necessarily, but there's a real chance he could. Since joining the Bengals in 2022, Kappa has started 50 of 51 games. Last season was a rough one for him, but he's still a durable, experienced lineman, something this Raiders O-line desperately needs. This signing raises some questions, though. Will the Raiders make more moves to shore up the offensive line? Let me know what you think in the comments. Alex Kappa has some history with Raiders GM John Spytek, as they overlapped in Tampa Bay from 2018 to 2021. So, at the very least, our GM knows what he's getting with this signing. Now, I've already seen a lot of criticism about this move on social media. Some people are calling Kappa one of the worst offensive linemen available, saying he's given up too many pressures and sacks. I won't lie, I didn't know much about him at first. And sure, his tape might not be great, but what I do like is that the Raiders aren't wasting any time addressing the offensive line. We all know the O-line is crucial for this team moving forward, especially if we're looking for our quarterback of the future. Whether Kappa ends up as a starter or a backup, he at least adds depth to a position we desperately need help in. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean the Raiders are done fixing the offensive line. There are still plenty of guards and tackles available in free agency, and I expect the team to keep making moves. One thing's for sure, Pete Carroll will always prioritize competition. No matter who you are or where you came from, the best player will play. So what do you think, Raider Nation? Good signing or bad move? Let me know in the comments. Tyler Lockett to the Raiders? Now let's talk about a potential big signing. According to Adam Schefter, the Raiders are one of the top landing spots for former Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett, who was released this morning. And the best part? Since he was cut outright, he can sign with any team immediately. He doesn't have to wait until next Wednesday. I've talked about Lockett before, and honestly, I'd love to have him, but for the right price. The connection with Pete Carroll is already there, and he'd be a perfect veteran presence in our wide receiver group. At this stage of his career, he'd likely be a wide receiver 3 or 4, but he's still productive and could be a huge asset for our offense. Would you want to see Tyler Lockett in silver and black? Let me know in the comments. I'm not expecting Tyler Lockett to come in and be our #1 wide receiver, not at all. We already have Jacoby Myers, and there's a good chance we add another playmaker in the draft or free agency. But like I said before, Lockett brings experience, and having depth at wide receiver is never a bad thing. I'm really curious to see how the Raiders handle this position moving forward. There are a lot of names being thrown around. DK Metcalf's name keeps popping up. And while T. Higgins got franchise tagged, meaning he'll likely stay in Cincinnati, that still leaves us with limited options in free agency. You've got Chris Godwin, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, but to be honest, I'm not too high on any of them for the Raiders. My best bet? Draft a top wide receiver prospect like T-Mac, Troy Franklin, in the first round. That's just my opinion, though. I know some might disagree. If the Raiders are serious about finding a true wide receiver 1, the draft might be the best place to do it. As for Tyler Lockett, I'd absolutely welcome him. He'd be a solid depth piece and a veteran presence in the locker room. But what do you think, Raider Nation? Would you want Lockett in silver and black? Let me know in the comments.